Welcome to the another episode of Abstract Thesis series. In this series, we are digging deep into the Power BI concepts. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for our new video. Hello and welcome to another video of Abstract Thesis series. And in today's video, we are going to discuss the newly released feature Datamarts. Datamarts is recently released by Power BI in May 2020, and we are going to explore what all Datamarts can do it. So let's understand the definition of Datamarts as per Microsoft website, what has been given. So Datamarts are fully managed databases that enables you to store and explore your data in a relational and fully managed Azure SQL DB. So basically what happens when you create it internally is creating a fully managed Azure SQL DB for you, and that's where you can manage your data. Now that data, have a Power Query interface where you can do certain transformation, and those transformation will be converted back into the SQL tables, and then you can use it. Like it has a SQL interface, or you can use SQL Server Management Studio to go ahead and run your SQL. Now so Data Marts provide SQL support, no code visual query designer, which is Power Query, and row level security. And it also provide you an auto generated data set for each data mart. So if I create a data mart, I'll also get a data set. Okay. You can perform ADAS analysis and create report on all web. So now this is something new, because till now what used to happen is if I want to create something, I need to have a intervention from Power BI desktop. I need a report, then I need Power BI desktop. Now this is something new which we are going to explore today. We're not going to go to Power BI desktop. Without going to Power BI desktop, we try to create a report. Now these are some of the features which are there. So which basically you can explore. Now some more things which are there with the data, when and why should we plan. So Datamart provides a semantic layer that is automatically generated and synchronized with the content of the Datamart tables. Their structure and underlying data all provides automatically generated data. So it's automatically generated data set. You don't have to manage it. It's automatically managed. Auto-generated Power BI dataset is created from the Datamart, eliminates the need of connecting to a separate dataset, setting up refreshes, schedules, and managing multiple data elements. So that is another benefit. And auto-generated dataset connectivity is available only direct query only. Now we are going to explore. Now this is auto-generated direct query, but this is a SQL database. Okay, what all options we have. Okay, so let's explore that later. Now this is typically it will look like, so you have multiple sources, you put it in Datamart, which is basically Azure SQL for you, and there is a data set which is read only. And remember, this Azure SQL is also going to be read only. We are going to check out, can we do something on that. So read only database, read only data set. Then we have Power BI service where we can create report. We can go to Power BI desktop. We can go to Excel, analyze in Excel. We can go to SQL Server Management Studio. Now SQL Server Management Studio only as a database or also as a data set. Plus, what happens to our tools? Deck Studio, Tabular Editor, can we use that? So all these we are going to explore. So first thing which we are going to do is we are going to go to Power BI service app.powerbi.com, and there we need to have either PPU or premium. So I have PPU which I enabled a trial version some time back, and I have this demo PPU, and I also have a deployment pipeline on this one, but we are not going to explore that today most probably. So but Data Marts to support deployment pipeline as per the release notes. Okay, so I already done some experimentation around it, and some of the things in my experimentations which I found out is that while in Power BI and in SQL Server also, when you load the data, you typically don't face issue when there is a trailing space or leading space in the column name. But I do found some issue. Now, surprisingly, I found it second time onwards. First time, it has taken that data and created data set for me. So what I've done is I had few places data where there was a trailing space in the column name. So I removed that. One more thing which has happened with me is that I was doing some Power Query operations, and when I was doing it after creating my data mart, means I loaded a table and then I trying to do it. It did not perform well for me. So what I'm going to do to showcase you, I'm going to do it for the first time, and we may move back to our data sets which I already created to see what kind of error I face. Now these are initial release hiccups which are there, and they will settle down in some time. So let's start. To start, log into your app.powerbi.com and make sure you have a premium workspace, which could be because of PPU or which could be because you are a premium customer. And if you are one of those two, just go to that workspace, new, and you will see this new option, Datamart preview. Select this preview option, Datamart preview, click on it. Now it's going to load, and if it does create some problem, just refresh it. Now it gives you option import data from SQL, Excel, data flow, but you have all the options which you have in Power BI desktop. So get data from other sources. You will see all the options which you have in data flows or in Power BI desktop. Okay. So click on Excel workbook. That's what I'm going to do it. And I already uploaded my workbook on OneDrive, and from there I'm going to browse it. So I use this one. I have used in the another one, I have used this one, but see, if this doesn't work out, we are going to use the other one. Now organization sign in, I'm going to use again. And I'm going to say next. Now let me look at the tables which I have. So the customer table, then I have the geography table. I'm checking them also out, and item table and the sales table. I don't have a date table right now. So I will try to add the date table later on. And I'm going to use Power Query script to have a date table, because DEX table and DEX calculated columns are not supported yet. So I will try that. So I say transform data here. Now this is same what you might have seen the UI in the data flows, and you have seen almost similar kind of UIs in Power Query in desktop version. Now options are little bit reorganized here as per the web need. So, but you have the same stuff there. Now item customer, I don't have much issues, but I would like to remove these two columns. So I click on these two columns with shift and I say remove columns. So I want to remove these two columns. Sales, I want to add couple of columns here, and geography, I don't want to change anything. Okay. So I'm going to add couple of columns, custom columns. And what I'm going to do, not only I'm going to add them, I'm going to change their data type immediately. In my previous experience in the morning when I was trying this, when I created a new column and I came back and I tried to change that, the refresh was failing. But anything other I'm doing later on, like I added a date table, at that time it was able to refresh only date table separately. Now, so right now we are going to do it in right way. First time right. Okay. So let me try add custom column. So what I need is gross sales amount. And what is my gross sales amount is basically quantity multiplied by price, and I say okay. Now, and this is you will also feel in data flow as well as Power Query, sometimes it doesn't give you the correct data type, and we are going to modify that. But let me create three columns I want to create. So I need gross sales amount, I need COGS amount, so the COGS amount is nothing but cost multiplied by quantity. Okay, so price multiplied by quantity, cost multiplied by quantity. And the third one which I have, which I want to create, is discount amount. and which is basically I'm going to use already created gross amount multiply by discount percentage, which is absolute. So I'm going to divide it by 100, and maybe 100 or 0 doesn't make much difference here, and I'm going to have that. Now I added 3 columns, and now I'm going to do one thing here is I'm going to click here on this ABC123 decimal, ABC123 decimal number, ABC123 decimal number. Okay, I'm done with my transformation, and I've tried that I do those transformation in the first go, right? uh, so later on we can come back and do certain operations definitely, but let's see how does it goes. So I have 3 columns which I need, and I'm going to create a couple of measures also here once I able to save this. So I'm going to save it and look at the operations which is going to perform. So it is going to validate mashup, build Datamart ETL, creating a relationship, starting data load, and that's where it's going to show how many rows are there. This is very similar what you have seen in uh, Power BI desktop. Now remember, when we have done data flows, unless you go back and refresh the data flow for first time, it doesn't load the data. Now this is different here. It's going to load the data very first time. So now, and because you are coming to the transformation layer, make sure if you want to load lesser data, you go ahead and restrict it. And this, I'm going to click on the name on the top, and I'm going to name it as demo 2. I already created demo 1, so I'm calling it demo 2. Now I would like to create certain measures here. And after creating the measure, I would like to test it on Power BI service. And I also like to add a date table. I'm going to come back to add a date table, and date table in Power Query code of the M code, which I'm going to have, and we are going to use the blank query for that. Now this is a SQL database, and now to test that, you can actually, you see here, this is the option which is data. Now you can design a query, which is basically you can drag and drop and design new queries. You can aggregate table and all those Power Query stuff you can do, or you can write down a SQL here. So I'll open it here, and what happened is, for me, this is really small. So I go here and I do it. Now it's already have some query which is written from the past, and I say select star from sales, and I run it. Then I can say select star from sales, inner join item. Now we have to see the names here. We have item ID, and we have item ID here on, and let's give aliases A and B. Let's move it to next line on A dot, is it suggesting something? A dot, now I is, let's see how we have written. I'm just trying to have the same name, and let's try this. B dot item ID. Okay, and we say select A. Let's try this, and then if required we will give the table names. So we should get item columns at the end. Okay, so you can run the SQL, you can add the where clause and all those. So just like me, if you doesn't get this, you see it's very small, you just scroll it and make it a little bit bigger. Now you can download this data in Excel. You can click in open in Excel, is going to download that, and you can go ahead and check that out. Okay, now we created a Datamart, and in the Datamart we are able to run the SQL. Now let's go to our workspace and check what we got. So in the workspace, you will see you got this demo 2. Okay, you can go to the setting of this demo 2. Now it might take a little bit time to refresh, and if it is not working out, the way is just you refresh it, and then you come back, and then you can go to the settings. So demo 2 settings, if you go, now Datamart description, which you can provide, server setting. Now this is what you are going to use as a string to connect to SQL Server. Data source credentials, right now it's giving error, so let's leave it here, but it should give the credentials to connect to OneDrive and refresh and all those. Okay, so it might create a problem because it's failed to load data source, so it might give a problem there, but let's go back here. Now when you go to data sets and data flow, you will see the demo2 has been created as a data set. Now this is the data set which we plan to use. Okay, so demo2 was the name of the Datamart, as well as the demo2 is the name of the data set. Okay, now we know if we have a data set in Power BI service, we can create a report. So we go to this plus button and it says pick up a data set. So either enter the manual data or pick up a data set. And I can see demo2. This is the recently published. And I say create. And I can go ahead and create a report here. Now, one thing which I forgot is I forgot to join all of them. So when I create a report and when I drag it, it should give me all Cartesian. So everything is Cartesian. But what we are going to do is, let's save this report as it is. Data demo to data mart report. Okay, we will save it and we are going to come back here and come back and see, do we need to do any action here on this report to correct it? So we will go back now to our Datamart. So we go to Datamart, demo2 and edit it. Now we are going to do first thing is going to create the relationship. How to create the relationship? You have a model tab here. Now you go to the model tab and there is a zoom option here. Little bit you can do it. Zoom. Now once you zoom it, let's organize it little bit. And I'm going to organize it like in a manner that you can quickly. Okay. If needed, you can use the collapse option. Now city ID I see here. So I can join it with geography. Now please look at carefully. Now this time around, it has detected it many to one, but depending on the direction, it may or may not detect it correctly. So many to one, many sales and geography is single, and then referential integrity. If you want to do that, you do that. I'm leaving it right now. Good idea to have it. Now I'm going to do category ID. I'm going to do item ID and item ID join here. Now here you see the moment I drag it from that direction, the item is on many sides. So one to many, corrected, single directional. We don't want, if you want bi-directional, you can go and change it here. Okay. Again, just look at the arrow, corrected is there. And now again, so basically direction does matter here. Assumption is you are going from many to one direction. Sales, customer, many to one, single directional. Make this relationship active, confirm. So we have our data model now ready. It's there. Time for us to create certain measures. Now, if you go in a table and click on the home button, you do get options. These options, and the last option is new measure. Now in the table tool also, you have a first option which is measure. Now measure I want to create. My measures are gross, and we can say sum of sales, gross amount. Okay, it's created. Then I say new measure, which I say discount, which is sum of discount amount. I'm going to create one more measure, which is net. And right now I'm not checking which table it is creating. Net, which is nothing but gross minus discount. Okay. And let's see which table they are all getting created in customer table. So I go move them to sales table, or again, we can try out having, okay, empty table concept, what we have done. We can check that out later. I'm right now moving it to sales. So discount, gross and net. And let's create one more measure, which is discount percentage. One more measure I need. And see, you see now column tool here. Okay. Custom aggregation and categorization, you do see here. Okay. So like if I want to go to a column, let's say discount amount, and I want to categorize it. Okay. So I can do it. Aggregation, default aggregation, I can define. Okay. And you have certain options like this, display format, and all those you can control from here. So try to make your data set, because understand you are going to get a read only data set, and which you don't have control post the data post you have done the thing from here. So try to do as many things as you can from here. Okay, one more measure which will require, we're going to create one more new measure, which is nothing but discount percent, which is divide discount by gross. Gross is my another measure which I have, and let me see this. And now let's click on this measure discount percentage, and you have this category, data category. You don't see much of the options out here like percentage and all those, so you can go here and check it out. See, it has certain formatting options here or custom here, but on this side I do see options here. Okay, and still I don't see that percentage option specifically. Okay, so I can go and say format is percentage. Okay, so I just simply make format as percentage, and if you remember, we have the percentage symbol, percentage as an option there in typically in desktop. So fine, but similar kind of options, and so we do that. Now there is no close button I am able to locate till now here. So the only thing is, once you do things here, it's saved. Okay, go here to the demo PPU, and it's not asking whether you want to save it or not, and you go to the content, look at the report which you created. So we come to this report. Now when we come to this report, now we have already saved it. Let's go to the edit mode. Now let's see, do we need to refresh? It's already done. Okay, so in this visual it doesn't seems like, but let's try out. Now create a new visual name, and if it doesn't work out, we need to go back and check. Now I can see my measures are already there. Okay, and what was there? Quantity, let's say city and quantity again, let's take that. So let's take geography, city, and quantity here. Okay, so still there is some problem with our join with this, so we're going to check that out. Let's bring in brand, and with the brand let's bring in quantity. We see some things are working here, but still not working with the dimension, so we can go back and check that out. Let's bring our measure gross here. It's working fine. Net, discount, and discount percentage. So city doesn't seems to work, city in the geography, and let's see, does customer dimension is working fine. So we bring in name here, and along with name let's bring in gross. So things are changed. So this is the issue, so we have to go and correct that. So we go back here, demo PPU. So see, the live changes are happening. You changing the data set, and you are changing the Datamart, and the data set is getting changed. So we go here and we say yes, we want to save the changes. Let this report get saved. We go to Datamart and we go to demo 2 here. Let's see, everything is here. Okay, let's look at our relationships. Okay, so we have a relationship between customer and this one, and we do have a relationship between geography, but one too many, city ID, city. So what I'm doing is, let me delete this relationship and create it again. And city ID, let me make it a little bit bigger so that I can see it. City ID, dragged on city ID here. Relationship geography to sales, which is city ID to city ID, and I make it one to many, and I say confirm, and it got saved. Hopefully when we go to the report we'll see it. But one thing which now I came here, so one more thing which I want to do, I want to create a date table here. Now I have a Power Query script with me to create the date table. Now this script also had a problem previously. I had a space after FY, so when I tried into the other script it did not work. So secondly, I have created these start date and end date, which are actually the parameters, the M parameters in my desktop, I just created them as the variables above in my code, and now I'm going to do that. So I go to home and I say get data, and in the get data I will scroll down and I'll say blank query. In the blank query, I'm going to just paste the script. This is the complete script I got. I'm going to create a table from 2018 till 2021, and this is the date table generated in Power Query. Sometime back I do had a video around that, so you can go ahead and watch that. So I say next. Now it comes here and I'm going to rename it here itself, date. And seems like all the steps are correct. Data type also we need to check, like this is month start date, it need to be date. It's week start date, it need to be date. Year start date, it need to be date. End of year, it need to be date. Day of week, it need to be number. This need to be text. And it's very necessary to have correct data type, because SQL Server can choose altogether different data type. Okay. I marked it as a text, but it should be number. Replace current. So this is something which I was testing, so not so great thing to have, but let's correct it. Current date time, let's have it as date time. Fixed local now as date time. Today's date, see all these things which might be needed. Today's date as date is in current day. Now this should be text. Now true and false, let's leave it like that. There's so many. This is text. I think this should have been a text. This should be a date actually. So a lot of things are there, and I'm going to leave rest of the things here, and we'll try we don't use it. Okay. So I just let me make it as a whole number. Okay. So a lot many things are there. Let me save it now. And this is the second step. Typically when I add something additionally, I do face few issues there. So right now it's not, don't afraid of the zeros, because it's only loading this date table, and I ran a query post that and I found out the data is there, no problem about that. Okay. So now we got a date table, and now we need to have a join also between date table and this one. So we're going to have this, and let's experiment. Otherwise this we can experiment here. We can have this, we drag the sales here, and we drag the date table here, and then date is the key column here. We can now, do we have option to mark it as a date table? Mark date table, mark as a date table, column, select a column date. Let's see if there's some issue, it should point it out. Okay, did not point it any, no, did not find any issues. Join it with the sales date. Now date is one side, sales is on many side, and we say confirm. Now is any problem with this relationship? Many date. Okay, cancel. Now let's go back to our report and check it. So I go to demo PPU, I go to content, refreshed, I go to the new report. Let's see. Now still it is not getting corrected. City is still having some problem. I'm going to delete both the visuals from here. Okay, first let me go to the edit mode. Let me delete those. Okay, so these things are working. Let's see, does everything working with the sales. So I bring in date here, and I'm just going to check that out by bringing gross from there. Okay, so seems like it is working. The only problem we still have is the geography. We'll try to figure that out later. Just let's create a new page and have one more visual, and then if it doesn't work out, we'll leave it as of now, and we are going to do other things. So we take it state, convert it into a table, and take cross. This just seems correct. What happens with the city then? This also seems to work. So is there a problem with quantity? Now there could be the problem with the quantity. No, fine. So we are all sorted. Let's apply a date filter and check it out. So let's bring in some month here or something like that. So we add month here. Do we have month here? Doesn't seem like. Let's have a date here. Filter it on there. So I don't have data till October. 14th October, 13th October I do have data. 14th October I do have data. Okay, so working fine. So now we created a report. It's working fine with us. And something which we have done in Power BI service, we have not touched desktop till now. So you created a Datamart. It has given you a data set also. You can play around with SQL in Datamart. Using the data set, you are able to work on a report completely without going to the desktop version. So complete report is here. So this is really good thing which you have in your hand now. So you don't need to go offline version of, or you don't need to go to desktop to do certain things and come back here. So complete things are here. Now, because it's a data set, it's a live connection, there are limitations. Now, like we have recently launched feature which is basically field parameters. Now, unless it's there, available there in the Datamart, you can't get it here. So in data set, I can't create that. I can't create new tables here, isn't it? I can't create, only thing I can do is I can create new measures. And we will understand that more. We'll go to desktop. Now, till now we did not find any need to go there, but let's go to the desktop and explore it now. Now, we will explore it on desktop, and to do that, let's go to the Power BI desktop, and I'm going to say get data using Power BI dataset. So I am on my Power BI desktop now, and I can see in the Power BI dataset demo 2, which is going to be live connection from my premium workspace. Okay, and I go and say create. Now the moment it's created, this is again a live connection, and you know the limitation of a live connection. You don't get the data tab. You have only model is also, you get the model, you can see it, but not much changes you can do. You can create new measures, other functioning like, no new parameters, nothing you can't change. But we came here to test this. Okay, so we bring in state, and as usual we want to convert it to a table so that we can understand the data here. Now we go here and bring in gross sales. Data seems right. Now I can convert into a visual. I can create a visual like this. Near to this, I add another visual. Let me add brand wise net. It's all same Power BI. There's no difference. When you take the data set, whatever you do is the same thing we are doing here. Just we are testing that stuff. Now I can import a theme and make it work in a little bit better manner, but just want to show you using couple of things. Category, and I will have net again in this visual, and let's have line using the date, and let's have discount percentage there. So we'll get a trend also. So we got a trend, we got everything. We can save this report and let's call it as test data set test Datamart actually. Test Datamart dataset. It's Datamart's dataset. Okay, and save it, and we are going to publish it also. And again, we are going to publish it in demo PPU, and we say select, and then we are going to go back and check that out. One test completed, but it's not over yet, because we are going to say new again. And why we are doing this? Because I can connect data set as a direct query also, isn't it? What happens then? So let's go and do that. Again, we go and we say we want to connect to data set, and this time around I go to my demo data set again, let it load, and I'm going to do one more change. I'm going to say no, not this, modeling, make change to my model. And for this there is a setting in the options and settings, so if you have not enabled, enable that. Okay, add to local model, it changes it. Dataset, direct query, data model is again direct query on a direct query dataset. You got the changes, you have the same stuff out here. Now first of all, I bring a visual here and I'm going to test, does these measure works, the external measure, does they going to work for us, or we need to do some more work around that. Now we go and see this gross, and when you see the definition, you can see a little bit difference out there. Just check it out, things seems to be working. And what we are going to do is not going to go too much of effort. Let's add one more visual and publish this also. Okay, so put one more visual. Let's take brand wise net. Okay, second experiment, file, save as, this is direct query, test Datamart, dataset direct query. Okay, now this is done. Let's publish it, and we have to test all these on Power BI service. Demo PPU, you're getting too many things. Now one thing, it's a SQL server, Azure SQL server. So why we are doing all this? Let's do one more experiment, and while doing that, let me close this file, save. Okay, one more file, but I'm now going to use SQL server. Now to use SQL server, let me go back to Power BI service. Let me go to my workspace. Do you see the new reports here? Oh, you do see. No worries, we are not going to check them right now. We go to demo 2, we go to settings, we go to server settings, we say copy, and then we go here, cross this, get data, and I'm not going to try it as SQL server, but you can try it as SQL server. I'm going to say get me as Azure SQL. So I say okay, it is Azure SQL. So I go to here and I give Azure SQL here, and I say connect. I say okay. No, I need Microsoft authentication. I'm going to say sign in, and I'm signed in now, and I say connect. Okay, few things for us. Now I can see model relationships here. I can see relationship columns, I can see relationship, I can see my tables also. Okay. Okay, let me add. And we have chosen import mode. We have not changed the mode. So default is import. So what I've done is my Power BI was creating too much hassle. I restarted it. Then I added the sales table first and then I added the other one. I'm not going to rename them right now. We're just going to create relationship. Now the good thing is we don't need to. It's taken all the relationships correctly other than this date. I think this because of the names, and this one it did not taken. So we just connect these date and date. Now it's a import mode, please remember. So I need to go back and mark my date table again as a date table. Mark date table, select date. Okay. Now this is the import mode. You can see the data here. This is typical our import mode. So we are now using the Azure SQL database here, and because it's import mode, you need to do everything which you're supposed to do with the import mode. But and again, no measures here. Import mode, no measures are going to come out. We can create those measures. The only good thing would be that these gross sales and amount and whatever we created in Power Query, part of it, it's there. So we are just going to create a test visual here. Again, we bring in state, we convert to a table, one test, gross sales amount, relationship is correct. Now relationship is governed by local model. It has nothing to do with the model which is there. Okay, we're just testing everything out here. We convert it into one big one, and now we say okay fine, this is tested, and we save it this file also, and we say Datamart dataset import. Now this is not dataset import, this is Datamart SQL import, because we are using SQL, Azure SQL import test. Okay, and then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to do a direct query. Okay, let's publish this also. Again, demo PPU, and now we have to do one more experiment, and post that we'll check few things, and then we have to go to Power BI service again. Now again, one more new file. I'm opening too many files in Power BI today. This is save. We got a new file. Now this time around, we say get data, and our option this time is Azure SQL direct query. Azure SQL connect this. I'm going to say direct query this time around. Okay. If it is asked for a login, I'm going to pause it a little bit, but I'm already logged in. It knows it. Again, same data tables I have access. Again, we are connecting to SQL server. Okay, remember that. Load. This is direct query model. Let's quickly look at the model. Now no joins this time around. Okay, fine, no problem. So item goes to item, many to one, single directional. Okay, city goes to city, many to one, single directional. Let's drag it here. Date, again we have to mark that as a date table also. We will do that also. Again, model sales, many to one, single directional, mark as a date table, select date. So I use those three dots. There's option here. Okay, model says customer ID, customer ID. Okay, done. So model is ready. We are so perfect in creating this. Now we create it again and again. Again, favorite state. Now this is direct query, so little bit tricky. And now again, we can create majors and whatever direct query limitations are, a column, majors, whatever we want, we can create direct query on Azure SQL. Data is correct. Let's make it a different visual so that we identify it. Okay, I'll make it as a shape visual, isn't it? Fine, we are done. Save as. Import test, direct query test. Save, publish, demo PPU, select. Everything going there. Got it. Now, before we move back to Power BI service, we have a few more things to test. So now we go to our favorite SQL Server Management Studio. And in the SQL Server Management Studio, in the database engine, I give this. Okay. And instead of Windows authentication, I'll say Azure Active Directory, Universal MFA, or SQL Server Authentication. Let me see this one. And let me log in here and check it out. Okay. I'm going to pause the video while I'm logging in. Yes, so now SQL Server is connected here. We see a database here. Again, read-only database, and we can test it out. The table gone. Okay, we have everything as view now here. Now we can say select 1000 rows. So everything you got it as a view, and you can say model dot this one. Okay, can we create our own view? Create view. Let's say model dot test test1 as select star from model customer. Let's try this out. It's read only, it should fail. Okay, so we don't have permission, we got our views. Okay, now if you remember that we can connect to our premium workspace also in SQL Server. So we go to workspace, we go to the setting of the workspace, and there is a URL here. Copy this. Now we can also connect and say analysis services. We can give this, we can try this, and let me log in and see, check. Logging in. Let's see what does it gives us. So we got this, we got data sets. We see we have this other data set which should work. Now deployment is another data set, and see, we have created few data sets which is direct query and these and this one. So all these are there, but something is missing. Both those data set, demo1 and demo2, are missing from here. See, this is test Datamart direct query, test SQL direct query test Datamart SQL Server import. These are there. Okay, but the two others are missing. Okay, no problem in that. Now we go to Dex Studio. Again, in the Dex Studio, I provide the same demo pp URL. Let me see. Paste, and I say connect. So Dex Studio is connecting right now, and we have multiple data sets. So class is there. Now here I can see the demo1 and demo2. Now let me connect to demo2, and it may give throw certain warning, but let's see. Preview data. So running that query. Let's look at some things. Still running that query. Okay, let me pause while it is running, otherwise I'll connect again and try it out. So I'm able to run the query. I can go and run it here. Also preview data. You can write down certain DAX here and check it out. So means you connect to data model, run your DAX queries on DAX Studio. Now there is one more thing which we have is basically tabular editor. Now tabular editor is something which might require a editable connection. So we need to check that. So we say open from DB, we give this PPU, and I need to give username password. So let me pause the video, log in here and try. And in my last attempt, it did not connect. It did give an error because it is only read-only connection, and it is not it. And tabular editor do want a write connection. Fine, let me try out. Okay, so I came here. Now I can choose one of these, like, so that might work, but I'm more interested in demo 2, and I say okay, and it says it gives error, and I know it's because of this one. But if I go here again and I'll log in again and I'll try to show you the other data set, which is the import one, it do work. Okay, I'm back again, and this time let me choose this data set, which is basically an import mode data set, which I have for quite some time, and you can see it do work with that. Now analyze in Excel is one feature, and you have an option to download the thing in analyze in Excel as analyze in Excel. But what I've done is I directly open my Excel, and because I've already had that analyze in Excel once, let me go to the data tab, and in the data tab, in the get data, I do see this option, get Power BI data sets. So I click in the data tab, I went there and I say I want Power BI data sets, and I see my list of data sets here, and I can click on demo 2 here. Demo 2 is the one which we are rightly working. We have a demo 1 which is again the Datamart only. Now I can go and create a quick visual here and check it out. Okay, so let's geography state, that's a favorite for today, and net. Data is correct, and our gross is around 10, the first 2 digits. Okay, so we have this data set read only, and we are able to use in analyze in Excel, Power Query as data set live as data set direct query. Then the SQL server, we use it on SQL server management studio. We went ahead and use it back in Power BI. Power BI is import mode, Power BI is direct query mode. Both we tried out. Okay, and now it's time for us to go back and check it on Power BI service. Just before that, we are here now. Let's go to Power BI. So we have published few reports, and time for us to check the content now. So refresh. Okay, so this is our SQL server. We treat it as a direct query to it, and it says this cannot credentials missing. Okay, so no problem. Right now we will address this problem later. We have to go to the data set and do it. Okay, so this is import test. The import should work. Okay, because it has data with it. Definitely, if you want to schedule a refresh, then it's going to ask for that things now. Okay, now let's look at Datamart dataset direct query. This is dataset direct query. Okay, it's working. Okay, so this one is working. Again, demo PPU. refresh, demo to Datamart report. Again, this report is working. We have a page one also here. Okay. Now, let's look how many data sets we have got here. So we got one for direct SQL, we got for import, and we got one for dataset direct query also. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look for this direct query. This is the one which did not work. So we have to go to the settings, and in the settings, it is asking for data source credentials, and we have to say edit, and then we have to choose my data set, my authentication. I need to say OAuth 2, privacy level organization, and let me sign in and let's see, does it work? So I have done this sign in for this one. Same way I can do it for import mode also, but we just wanted to go back to PPU. We just want to go to the content, refresh, and this SQL direct. Let's see, does it work now? And it does work. So created Datamart. It gives us a data set. We tested all the possibility of that data set. Power BI, Excel, SQL Server. We went to Dex Studio. We went to Tabular Editor. Now this is SQL Server. So we went to SQL Server Management Studio. We went to Power BI, tested it again. Last, before we going to wrap up this, we go back to our Datamart. We go here and we try out, can we create a view here? Because it's read only, it's going to remain read only here, but what's harm in not trying that? So okay, my options, where are my options? SQL options. Okay, because of my Windows sign there was some problem, but just I'm able to make sense because of where it is. So okay, so just try to write down something here, and just the last thing which we'll check out, create view let's say demo sales as select star from sales. Okay, read only. We are not having access, fully managed Azure SQL instance for you, so we don't have an access. So no access on the database to create objects. You can't create DEX columns, DEX calculated column. So something which required that kind of DEX or that kind of DEX tables. So it's something which is not there. You can club up data, do certain transformation, and everything which you can do in Power Query transformation, you can do it here. Now, so what is happening here is you are going to create a database as well as the direct query dataset by using this. Now, as a good practice, we do prefer that we don't create a calculated column in our Power BI because it's going to increase our load time. So now what happens is if you model it properly, either you're bringing it from the database or you model it here, you don't need a calculated column. So now if you don't need a DEX calculated column, DEX table, now you have everything, create measures, create everything, and go ahead and then have that data set, and then you can work with that. Now you have now Power Query here, and you have data flows also, which is already existing there. So what is going to happen to that? Now data flow still could be a source for this Datamart. Now why it can be source for this Datamart? Because data flows gives us that small ETL which is centralized, and if I'm planning to create more than one Datamart, definitely I can move some of those transformation there. And then dataset definitely plays a role because dataset still are the one where we are going to create the reports from. So things hold good here. Really interesting thing which is coming into play, and my advice would be go ahead and play around with this. Do let me know how do you like this video. And thanks for watching this video. Suggest what you want to see in this particular series. Thank you. Keep watching, keep asking questions in comments, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for new videos. Thank you.